My name is Ben. I'm in Anchorage, Alaska, independent dealer. Got about 1.5 million sellable inventory, paved lot next to Lithia and Kendall. Just trying to leverage the tools we have available to us, and glad to be able to participate and be a customer. So,
And what is your role at the dealership?
the co-owner.
And roughly how many cars a month do you guys sell right now?
We're pacing 40, I think, right now. Usually it's over 30. We're trying to get to that next step. We're doing a lot more buying. We got a full shop, big shop, body paint. We only have 10 employees, but we are very efficient, I feel.
No problem. We have lots of dealerships your size that utilize TECOBI. So how many salespeople on the team? You said you have 10 people. How many of them are considered sales?
We could say 3. We use the tools we have very well just to get everything done from time. We have our own DMV department, titling, funding. Yeah, the team's been here 20 years. I bought the business 2 years ago, and we actually downsized our salespeople because our processes got better and people didn't want to adapt. So yeah, we're kind of unique. I'd like to think.
And what were some of the challenges you faced with lead follow-up before TECOBI?
Before TECOBI, you only have so much time in a day as a salesperson, and you want to leverage that as well as possible. I mean, you could try to spend how much time with each customer. You want to spend the right amount of time with the customers, but we noticed the more customers that we got, especially online, Facebook or TrueCar, wherever we're getting them, there's no real way to keep up with all of them in a meaningful way. And you're kind of just playing, you can either play whack-a-mole or wait for them to come in with a check. What we like now is we feel that we've got a broader audience and a way to manage them. We're not just paying a bunch of advertisers to get leads that we can't manage. I feel we have really good CRM. That's TECOBI. So, yep.
Okay. And before TECOBI, did you have a CRM? Or were you managing things manually?
What we had going on, and we still utilize mainly as our DM, is Dealer Center. We were hoping at some point they would integrate, but I know that's kind of a big jump, neither here or there. But I'm a big fan of the old calendar system. If you got someone good, a strong lead, for whatever reason you feel it is, you put them on the calendar. The CRM and Dealer Center was trash. I'm just going to say that. They are not a CRM. They hold customers' names and numbers, and it prints paperwork and submits deals. That's about it. They are not the component needed to communicate with hundreds or thousands of people a month. It's not set up that way.
It's more of just like information tracking seems to be what most CRMs are.
Yeah, I see a lot of companies trying to say that they're a CRM now, and every once in a while do a demo. And it seems like they just started since AI came out. They don't know how to leverage it.
And what made you decide to give TECOBI a shot?
I've used it in the past, like COVID era and post-COVID era, when no one was going out. But here we are, flooring, $750,000 worth of vehicles, and we had to move them. So what we did is we just tried different vendors, went through a handful. I can't think of them right now because we're like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, something. I turned it off for a while. I seen AI come on. I seen the comments on the TECOBI page, like, hey, we're actually utilizing technology, like actually trying to get better and adjust and adapt. So that's why we gave another shot, went on the Google page. I just let the people know I wanted to try again. And it's cost effective. The cost makes sense for what we're getting. It's better than having another 1 or 2 salespeople that are constantly trying to come on board. I'd rather have what we have now.
And did you ever use any of our competitors?
I used B12. I used Hammer. I get what they're trying to do, but I would spend more and I would get more customers, but there was no way to deal with them. They were just like, oh, I just clicked here, I just clicked that. What we have now is once we pay for these customers, they're expensive to get. If you just let them go, it's just like, man, you just wasted your money. And that was the main problem I had with V12.
And with Hammer, what would you say the biggest differences between Hammer and TECOBI are?
The biggest difference I found between Hammer and TECOBI, Hammer is a lead generation. They're pretty good at getting people to click on Facebook links or ads, but it doesn't have an effective way to manage the people after you pay for the date or after you pay for the leads. It's just like, hey, we took $5,000 from you and got a bunch of leads that you couldn't do anything with them really.
Right. So I don't know a ton about Hammer, but from what I do know, TECOBI started as a marketing company and then we slowly transitioned into a software company. It seems like Hammer wants to represent themselves as a software company, but ultimately they're just trying to sell you Facebook ads at the end of the day.
That was my main concern, spending so much money on leads and Facebook ads and not actually yielding anything from it. And at the end of the day, week, month, I'd look at a performance report. I'd see a ton of leads coming in, but they're not worth anything unless you know what to do with them. You can manage them, keep track of them, follow them up. They don't have a pause feature. But yeah, I do agree with that. They are trying to sell Facebook ads on commission, I believe.
Now, what would you say TECOBI has changed about how your team handles leads?
Well, what we were doing is we would get a lead come in and we'd call them once or twice. Call and text is what we do. After that, if we didn't get any response, it was just like it's a dead lead, and it just went, in the round file because we had too many active deliveries going on or active deals, contracts in transit, things like that. So that's what we were doing. What we have now is we actually have a pipeline. I'm seeing the pipeline grow. There's a lot of people on pause. There's a lot of people on active. Dead go status is a big deal too, because you're not losing the ads that you paid for, the leads that you paid for. They don't just disappear. And we're getting to the point where we're actually seeing a return on the other pipelines other than just active. It's tax time. We use the robots. Hey, it's tax time. The AI will set up a nice word track and change it up a little bit. And then we're seeing responses of people that were dead for a while. You're seeing them come back into the active pipeline. And if you get, whatever number of those, you're going to get a deal out of it ultimately. It's a numbers game, we feel like. Yeah, we don't want to lose the leads we pay for sure.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the systems out there are just leaving dealers at the point where they have to cherry pick leads. You have to, go as quick as you can, find the people that want to talk to you today. And then the rest of it kind of falls to the wayside, especially with smaller dealerships like yourself. You don't have a massive, amount of resources to be able to follow up with people. And especially on those Facebook leads, a lot of the customers are higher funnel. So they're not really ready to buy yet. It could take 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 months in order for them to get to a point where they want to actually purchase a car. How long have you been back on TECOBI now? I feel like it's been 6 months or so.
It's been 6 or 8 months since we did the onboarding, and things are getting better the bigger the pipeline goes. I see my text utilization has gone over the original plan, but it's actually yielding it. That's what we want. We want to be talking to more people, and that's the bigger our pipeline gets, the better our chances of closing and delivering a car deal.
Yeah, we've got some dealers that have been with us 5, 6 years, and it does get to the point where it'll just overwhelm your facility. You won't have any, you just will maximize the facility to the maximum potential, because the older that pipeline gets, as you're starting to notice, the more it's working those older leads to bring those back up to the top. What would you say is your favorite thing about TECOBI?
My favorite thing about TECOBI by far is having a way to manage the leads that we pay for. It costs a lot of money to get leads and get them in the system. And if you don't follow up with them, like they said, fortune's in the follow-up. If you don't have a system or a process for that, you're going to have to hire people to do it. You're going to have like BDC people, more salesmen, and it really just takes money out of the business. We're an independent dealer trying to grow, and TECOBI's been a big part of that, and it's really paying off.
I know it's kind of hard to fathom, put into context how many cars you've sold, because technically we help you work all of your leads. Yeah. But have you noticed any improvements in sales since you started with TECOBI?
Yes, we've noticed an amount of more sales, and it's not just the more sales, it's how much effort did it take, or did you have to do extra work to get it? The amount of work is going down per car deal, so we can focus on the new deals and the old deals that could have been lost. I'd say we probably sold, we're small, 30 to 40 cars a month. When we started TECOBI, we're probably like 23, 25, 26. Is 6 months a trend? I think it's starting to be a trend. I think it adds a car every other day.
Yeah, it starts to slowly, as the pipeline builds, it just continues to increase and increase over time. So we should see in the, probably 50, 60 range towards the third quarter of this year would be what I'd expect to see a store your size do. Let's talk a little bit about your sales team and their adaptation to TECOBI, because it is a much different system than other systems out there. And, having AI involved in the conversation can sometimes be a little awkward for a salesperson. Has there been any challenges getting them to adapt to it? What have you noticed about the adaptation from salespeople?
To give you the very short story, when I bought this dealership, there was 3 salesmen that had been here 20 years. It was a really tight team, and plus the owner and support people and admin people in the back. We went from having 4 people to down to having 3 people. 2 people, they were old school. They didn't want to adjust. My assistant manager, he's been in the car business how many years, Toby? 22 years. He was able to figure it out when I got here. I don't know if this helps the video or what we're doing, but there was no computers here, right? There's no computers here. TECOBI is easy enough to where almost we had a desk manager in the back, but it's easy enough to where old school car dogs can learn it. And that was a really great part about it. It was challenging, yeah, for a little bit, but once the people that need to learn how to use it see the results, and it happens in a shorter amount of time, the more motivated they are to learn tech. So this program really is for everyone. It just takes actually trying. And I think it replaces the need of hiring a bunch of busy salespeople that aren't really doing anything, right?
Yeah, because you feel like when you're not able to follow up and the follow up falls off, it's kind of, you feel like you have to hire more people in order to extend that follow up window.
Mhm.
So now that none of your leads are falling through the cracks,
Yeah.
like literally none of them fall
Yeah.
through the cracks anymore, you don't feel like you've just got to keep hiring endless amounts of people. And that's what we start to see as well is the longer that pipeline grows, we start to see that per car average, our per salesperson average increase,
Yeah.
which also helps with the retention of the salespeople, because the more cars they can sell, the more they're going to make and the longer they're going to stay at the dealership. And it really helps the overall healthiness of your sales team and the longevity of the sales team as each salesperson starts to sell more cars on average. What would you say to any dealer that's considering using TECOBI?
I'd say it's not how much it costs, it's what you get. Value, dollar for dollar, TECOBI just blows everything else away. There's so much value in it. And if your people are actually willing to try it, they're going to make more money and have a better quality of work, let's say. I would say give it a shot. You have nothing to lose. You're going to spend more money on Facebook ads that don't yield you anything with other competitors. And I've tried them.
And is there anything else you'd say about your experience with TECOBI? Just anything in general? And it doesn't necessarily have to be about the software, just anything you'd say about your experience?
I'm in Anchorage, Alaska. If we can learn TECOBI in Anchorage, Alaska, I think just about anybody can. And I feel like there's actually a work culture I think you're in Colorado. I feel the people online and the TECOBI support groups and support techs that are available, you actually feel like there's momentum to stick with this company. They're going to keep expanding their software, where other software we've used, just no one cares. It feels like the people at TECOBI actually care about the direction of the car industry and where things are going in general. And that's pretty rare to see a work culture, I feel. So that's just my opinion.
I've always looked at Zig Ziglar's famous line, you don't build a business, you build the people, and the people build the business.
Yeah.
And we have some people here that have worked for us almost the entire time we've been open.
Yeah.
We have a very small team, but we constantly get kudos from everyone on how everyone is always so responsive. And
Yeah.
a little secret is we use TECOBI internally to manage our communication with the dealers as well. So we're able to be hyper efficient. We're able to use the same kind of teamwork that a dealer would use internally to manage all the dealer communication. So Ben, I really appreciate you, brother. I really appreciate you jumping on here, taking the time. It's nice to hear from the smaller locations. We service a lot of them throughout the country, and you guys are, in my opinion, just as important as a guy who sells 1,000 cars a month. We pay attention to you guys just as much as we pay attention to a large group or anyone else. So really appreciate you taking the time today, brother.
Absolutely. All right. See you later.
Awesome. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too.